Take control. Call Chapter today. That's pound 250, and when prompted, say Medicare.
Welcome into a new week of Bruce Hooley Shows. Stormy weekend, not as stormy as it was across the country. Wow. Devastation from the weather. We will get into that. Democrats are in disarray, which that's delicious. Their approval ratings are at all-time lows, even among Democrats. And that's also delicious. And Donald Trump at odds with judges. And an issue in this case is whether or not he is defying a judicial order in the deportation of Tren Aragua members. So let me get this straight. I think I'm right on this. It's okay for a president to fly tens of thousands of illegals over the border, not come through ports of entry. We pay for it, but it's not okay for a president to fly those illegals back out of the country and put them in prison when they're members of a Venezuelan gang. I think I have that right. So welcome into the show. I hope you were not one of the unfortunate few who were caught in the traffic issues on I-70 East today. It was closed after a fatal crash, the third in less than 12 hours on the east side of the city. We also had, this is really tragic, we had a 7-year-old boy fall out of an SUV and lose his life on Sunday afternoon. Is it just me, or have we had like an abnormal number of people hit by cars and killed in the last week, 10 days? I can think of at least 3, maybe 4 where this has happened. This is super tragic rather. Riding in an SUV, fell out of the vehicle and was run over by the vehicle. So that's just heartbreaking. Terrible thing. All right. So where do you want to start? I know you're like, tell me about the Democrats and how bad they are. No, I'll save that. All right. Give you something to look forward to. It's called a tease. Let's talk about what you'll hear about today, no doubt. Whenever a Democrat opens their mouth, whether it's in Congress, in the Senate, maybe even locally, if anybody bothers to quote them, is that Donald Trump is indeed a dictator. He's, of course, given ample demonstration of that before because he's trying to save the American taxpayer money. He's laying off federal workers, which that doesn't sit well with Democrats. Doge is a very bad thing, according to them. But now Donald Trump has, and I can't underscore this enough, followed through on his oft-stated campaign promise to deport illegal aliens, specifically gang members. And the gang that he mentioned most often was either MS-13 out of Mexico or Tren Aragua out of Venezuela. Well, over the weekend, Trump used a 1798 law, which this really makes Democrats mad until you remind them the last time this law was used. Then they are still mad, but they have a way of saying, yeah, but that doesn't apply now because nothing ever applies to them if you're doing exactly what they've done before. But this 1798 law is called the Alien Enemies Act. And what it allows a president to do is to deport someone without a hearing if they are deemed to be from a designated enemy country and they are not a naturalized citizen. Now, I don't think any of us were alive in 1798, so we might not, a lot of us even remember when this was last used. It was used by Harry Truman, and it was used by Woodrow Wilson. Now, I know you're saying, wait a minute, aren't those both Democrats? Yes, they are. Woodrow Wilson used it after World War I. Harry Truman used it after World War II. It was also used during the War of 1812. And I don't remember who was president then, because, of course, I wasn't alive. And they continued to enforce this law, the Alien Enemies Act, in Wilson's case, 2 years after World War I, and in Truman's case, 6 years after World War II. And in fact, this was upheld by the Supreme Court of that era. So, looking for precedent, there it is. What did the Supreme Court say in 1948 when Truman extended the Alien Enemies Act? It said, it is not, this is the court speaking, it is not for us to question a belief by the president that enemy aliens who were justifiably deemed fit subjects for internment during active hostilities do not lose their potential for mischief during a period of confusion and conflict, which is characteristic of a state of war, even when the guns are silent, but the peace has not yet come. These are matters of political judgment, for which judges have neither technical competence nor official responsibility. Nor official responsibility, judges. This is a point Trey Gowdy of Fox News picked up on when he talked about an issue that we on the right have decried for a long time, activist judges getting outside their lane. All right, my computer is frozen. Believe me, Trey Gowdy, there he is. Trey Gowdy is now back, and I think he's ready to talk. Trey, please speak. Nope, not going to do it. Don't know why. Looks to me like everything's working fine. There it is.
Worried about the judicial branch. They don't have the sword. They don't have the purse. They don't have an army. So how do they enforce their orders other than voluntary compliance? And if Marco says the plane was in international airspace, I believe him.
Now, the Marco he's talking about there, of course, is Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And Marco Rubio said, when the judge's order came down, and let me tell you about this judge, okay? This judge, don't be surprised, was appointed by Barack Obama. His name is James Boasberg. Now, James Boasberg, he has quite a record. He was a judge who greenlit FISA warrants during the Steele dossier Mueller investigation, where the FBI forged signatures on FISA warrants to spy on Trump's campaign. Boasberg said, that's okay. Want the Trump administration violating his federal orders. Joe Biden did that a lot. I hated it. You have to hate it when Trump does it, just as much as you hated it when Biden did it, even though nobody hated it that had any power to stop it when Biden was imposing rent moratoriums and ingraining vaccine mandates and forgiving student loans. Nobody stopped him. In fact, they cheered him. But look, you don't want to become what you despise. So if this is wrong, then Trump needs to not do it. But at the end of that Trey Gowdy cut, he said Marco Rubio is of the belief that the planes holding the 300 Tren de Aragua gang members on their way to a prison in El Salvador, where I'm sure the prisons are air conditioned and bug free and the food is 5-star fantastic, aren't you? Rubio said the plane was already outside U.S. airspace. Thus, Judge Boasberg's order had no veracity to it. Trey Gowdy believes Marco Rubio. I'm going to believe Marco Rubio. No Democrat's going to believe Marco Rubio. That much I understand. But this is the position of the Trump administration. It's also the position of the Trump administration, as Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary, outlines here, that Donald Trump is being subjected to judicial oversight to a degree that Joe Biden never was.
We have judges in our judicial branch who are acting as activists, not real arbiters of the law. And there have been 15 injunctions in 1 month of President Trump's agenda. The Biden White House only faced 13 injunctions in the entirety of his presidency.
Okay, 15 in 1 month compared to 13 in 4 years. Let me be fair. When you are a president who only works between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., and I use the word works liberally, remember the auto pen, which signed most of the orders for Joe Biden, maybe there aren't as many objectionable things to end up in front of the courts. I will hear that argument. Donald Trump is a revolutionary president, a president who seems bent on fulfilling every promise that he made to the American people. After all, gas prices are down, deportations are up, the border is secure. So I understand why Democrats are upset, but I don't want Trump to violate the law like Biden did.
We'll give way to some sun, a little bit cooler this afternoon. High today at 49, clear tonight, low 36. Sunny, breezy, and warm tomorrow, the high at 68. And then for tomorrow, light partly cloudy, low 50. Windy and warm, clouds and sun on Wednesday. High Wednesday at 69. Clouds, windy and cooler, showers on Thursday, the high 50, but those temperatures falling into the upper 30s throughout the day. I'm Steve Williams on 89 FM, The Answer.
ProView Remodeling, Ohio's #1 choice in sunroofs, windows, doors, decks, siding, patios, porches, basements, and bathroom remodels. Call ProView Remodeling today and get 25% off or 60 months, 0 interest. That's right, 60 months, 0 interest. Call or text 7 days a week, 614-756-3140. You win with ProView Remodeling, 614-756-3140. Check us out at ProViewRemodeling.com.
You can hear this today at PregerTopia.com.
I always talk to strangers. I have massive opportunity because I'm on the road so much. I have this contest with me. Can I make the person in the elevator laugh in the 30 seconds that we're together? All these studies that show if you talk to strangers, you'll be happier.
Hear the entire episode. It's for Pregertopia members only. Go to PregerTopia.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333. Important Social Security news. President Trump's Doge chief, Elon Musk, says Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. And he says there's so much fraud, it's the big one to eliminate. Now, Rob Finnerty is on Newsmax tonight, warning that your Social Security could be in danger. Already, Doge is slashing half the Social Security offices across the nation. Rob Finnerty says that's wrong. Millions will find their benefits denied. You paid into Social Security all your life. Now, Rob Finnerty exposes the lies about Social Security and why it must be protected. Watch Rob's special series on the dangers to Social Security at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app. Millions of Americans are switching to Newsmax because it's news they can trust. It's real news for real people.
Your home is a big investment. If you live in a condominium or homeowners association, decisions by your board and community manager affect you. Is your board knowledgeable? Is your manager trained? Is your investment protected? CAI, Community Associations Institute, can give you the tools to protect your home and community. CAI is a nonprofit organization with resources for your board, community managers, and free information for homeowners like you. CAI at responsiblecommunities.com.
The Big Larry Elder event at Der Dutchman Restaurant on April the 25th, a Friday night, creeps ever closer. You still have time to buy tickets, but you don't have a lot of time because the tickets are going fast. I had several people come up to me yesterday in church. My church is Northwest Chapel in Dublin, 6700 Rings Road. Come visit with us. Love to see you. I've had people come up to me and say, I came here because I heard about you talking about your church on the radio. Fantastic. So if you'd like to get your tickets to Larry Elder, don't get shut out. Your tickets include the full price of a buffet dinner at Der Dutchman. So you don't have to pay for dinner. I mean, you're paying for it, but you get it, right? Including assorted desserts, the delicious roasted chicken, roast beef, all the Amish fare. It's delicious. If you've never eaten there, you'd be glad we turned you on to that. But I know you'll also be doubly glad that you get to hear Larry Elder espouse on conservative politics and tell his own personal story. I'll be on stage with him. So will Jack Windsor. We'll have a great conversation. We'd love to have you there. April 25th, a Friday night, Der Dutchman, Plain City. Get tickets at 989theanswer.com. So the Democrats are accusing Donald Trump of being lawless dictator. We say, wait a minute. Why are you doing that? They've been doing that for years. No, this is just in focusing on a certain thing that happened over the weekend where Trump issued a proclamation saying that if you're a member of Tren de Aragua, then you are part of an enemy invasion of the United States. He's declaring Venezuela a hostile country. And so he doesn't have to have a hearing to deport people. He can just round them up and deport them. And that's what he did. Flew them to a prison in El Salvador. Now, if Trump were really not interested in listening to judges, there was another story over the weekend that developed, which I think refutes the fact that Trump is lawless and pays no attention to judges. I don't know what the right answer is on these deportations. If Marco Rubio is correct and the plane was outside U.S. airspace, then okay, we win on a technicality and we get to send these Tren de Aragua members to El Salvador. If not, then that is something I would not support because I don't want this president to violate judicial orders, because if he does, then we negate the third branch of government, co-equal branch of government, and as bad as judges are, the system is better than the bad judge, right? Having the system is better than just ignoring, well, that's a bad judge, because you don't want, imagine a President AOC or a President Bernie Sanders or a President anybody from the Democratic side determining, well, this judge is good, that judge is bad. We don't want that. We can't live like that. That's not our country if we do that. But back to the other thing that happened this weekend that I think blows a hole in the theory that Trump is lawless and doesn't want to pay any attention to judges. Trump said early today on Truth Social that the pardons that Joe Biden issued, well, let me say that again. The pardons that were issued late in Joe Biden's presidency, Trump termed them today, in all caps, of course, void, vacant, and of no further force or effect. What is his reasoning behind that? He said because they were done by auto pen. And we know that. Biden signed Hunter's pardon with his own halting elderly signature. But the pardons for Liz Cheney, Anthony Fauci, Mark Milley, the January 6th committee, Benny Johnson and others, Adam Kitzinger, Adam Schiff, those were signed by AutoPen, which makes you wonder, did Joe Biden even know those pardons were being issued? This is Trump's contention. He says, the fact that they were done by AutoPen, in other words, Joe Biden didn't sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. Now, that last assertion is not proven, but you could certainly make the case, and we should litigate this in court, which is what Trump says he will wait for. Trump told reporters on Air Force One on Sunday that he thinks Biden's pardons are null and void due to the auto pen, but he said this, quote, "It's not my decision. That'll be up to a court." Now, who do you think Donald Trump wants to see face the harsh arm of justice more? Tren de Aragua members who though dangerous and having no business being in our country, did nothing personally to attack Donald Trump, imperil his wealth, imperil his freedom? Or do you think if Donald Trump had his druthers, and you can only pick one case where he was going to defy a judge, do you think he'd rather see Liz Cheney behind bars, Adam Kitzinger behind bars, Benny Johnson, and people on the January 6th committee? Do you think he'd rather see that? I think Donald Trump, being the, he's vindictive person he is, I think he'd rather see the latter. But he says, it's not my decision. That'll be up to a court, which I think lends credence to our side of the viewpoint on these Tren de Aragua deportations, that he's not blithely and blatantly ignoring the court. Why does Trump have to even use a 1798 law? Why don't we have a law from like the 1950s or, dare I say, the 1990s that he can use? Well, here's Trey Gowdy explaining that.
Why are we talking about a 1798 act? Because Congress has not kept up with the times. I mean, these dealt with other nations, and we've had the rise of ISIS-K and the Taliban and criminal gangs and cartels. Those aren't nations. Those are criminal elements, but they're not nations. So why is Donald Trump having to use a 1798 statute to protect Americans? Because immigration law hasn't kept up with it. This is what I'll tell your viewers. These gang members are going to be deported, period. New paragraph. The question is whether or not it's after a deportation hearing or under this 1798 act.
Yeah, so they're going anyway. And I suppose, if they're entitled to a hearing, they should have a hearing. I don't have a problem with that. But it's going to be awfully hard for them. One of the guys goes, I'm not in Tren de Aragua. He has a Tren de Aragua tattoo. Well, you just admire them from afar. This is crazy. Okay, he says, if I go back to Venezuela with the Tren de Aragua tattoo, the Venezuelan police will kill me. I highly doubt that, and probably on your payroll. Now, there are those, of course, who are giving a passionate defense of the Tren de Araguan gang members, and you would expect, not be surprised, that one of those is Margaret Brennan of CBS. Unfortunately, she is trying to make this case to Marco Rubio.
Is there any evidence of a link to terrorism, or is it just his point of view?
Yeah, they take over. You should watch the news. These guys take over entire buildings.
They
vandalize colleges.
Intensely.
They shut down
I'm
colleges.
asking about the
then you should
specific
know
justification for the revocation of his visa. Was there any evidence of material support for terrorism?
Was the negotiator negotiating on behalf of people that took over a campus, that vandalized buildings? Negotiating over what? That's a crime in and of itself.
Now, I got confused. He's talking about Mahmoud Khalil, the guy who took over the Columbia campus and enraged all the river to the seers and the Intifada people. I can't keep my foreign terrorists straight. So many of them were allowed to come in under Joe Biden. So many of them now are under scrutiny by Donald Trump that they get mixed up in my head. So Rubio and Margaret there were talking about Mahmoud Khalil, not the Tren de Araguans. I don't really differentiate between them, right? If you're here from another country and you mean to destroy our society, you mean to foment rage on a college campus and shout, scream hateful things at Jews and stir other people up, you don't belong here. If you're here as part of a criminal element gang from another country, and you're spreading fentanyl and drugs and killing people and maybe raping and arrest and that, you don't belong here either.
President Trump has declared President Biden's 11th hour pardons of J6 committee members and others null and void. Mr. Trump says the pardons are of no further force or effect because they were not signed by Biden himself, but rather robotically signed through the use of an auto pen, according to Mr. Trump. The Kremlin is confirming what President Trump had said earlier, that he will talk tomorrow with Russian President Vladimir Putin about ending the war in Ukraine. Responding to U.S. airstrikes, the leader of the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen vowing to step up attacks on American and Israeli targets in the Middle East.
Now imprisoned in El Salvador, more than 235 illegal aliens deported from the U.S. by the Trump administration said to be violent gang members. Watching Wall Street, the Dow up 195 points. NASDAQ is down 59. More details, SRNnews.com.
Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885.
Today's America is full of bloviating pundits who speak with emotion. That's why you need to listen to the Larry Elder Show. Larry is a lawyer, writer, and media personality who speaks truth with facts. The Larry Elder Show, weekday evenings from 8 to 11 on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you you're afraid, scared, and they try to frighten you.
My pillow. Okay, thank you.
It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hi, my name is Justin Etcheport. I'm Julian Etcheport. We run Alpha Waste Service. We offer front-load dumpsters as well as roll-off dumpsters for local residents and businesses. Our prices are set at flat-based rates. The price we give is the price you'll pay. We don't force our customers into contracts unless they want one. We keep our customers by providing quality service at affordable prices. If you need a front-load or roll-off dumpster, please visit alphawasteservice.com.
Again, that's alphawasteservice.com.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answers, mobile app, and 98.9 theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers. Tune in or iHeart.
MyPillow.com prices are wonderful if you are looking to save money. Also, of course, looking to get great sleep experiences, because that is what MyPillow is all about. It's why Mike Lindell invented the MyPillow, however many years ago it was that he invented it. It's a phenomenal product, and it has birthed a brand that has an array of products now to augment and help your sleep experience. Right now, the Mega Sale 2.0 is going on at MyPillow. You can save $40 on new spring MyPillow bed sheets in any size or any color. Save 30% on their newest product, the My Cross. You've seen Mike Lindell on many TV interviews, many TV commercials. He's always wearing a beautiful cross. It's perfect for men, but women might be a little bit too big and bold to chain the size of the cross. Never to fret. Mike Lindell has a special women's cross as well. You will love it. You can get a 6-piece bath or kitchen towel set for $29.98. And as for the MyPillow itself, standard size $14.98. Check out these deals and more at MyPillow.com and use my promo code Bruce. Now, the Democrats are big mad at Chuck Schumer. We are not talking about a government shutdown today. And the reason why we are not talking about a government shutdown today is, even though late last week it certainly appeared that there was going to be a government shutdown looming, because Chuck Schumer said on, I think it was Friday, maybe it was Thursday, I think it was Friday, he said, we're not voting for this continuing resolution. And then, what, a day, 6, 8 hours later, Chuck Schumer said, no, actually, I think it's a good idea we vote for this continuing resolution. Now, that's an interesting term that applies to the spending bill that the House approved, which the Senate didn't think the House could approve it. Okay, so the House did what it always did when Nancy Pelosi was controlling the majority, which is all the people on one side of the aisle banded together, which was great when Democrats did it, but it was really, really lousy now that Republicans are doing it, at least in the eyes of Democrats. Okay, so the House puts the pressure on the Senate. The Senate, as we talked before, their goofy rules, they have to vote as to whether they're going to have a vote or not. The first vote is not yes or no on the spending resolution. It's, are we going to vote on the spending resolution? And they need 60 votes to have a vote. And then they only need a majority of votes to pass it. I know it makes no sense, but it's government. Okay. So back to what they call this thing, a continuing resolution. Now, you might get the impression, as a normal, intelligent American citizen, that a continuing resolution is a resolution that, that's right, continues the spending as it was before. And that is essentially what it does. There's a few minimal changes, and the Democrats didn't like the fact that there was going to be spending in here for the border wall. But by and large, this is just a continuance, that's why they call it a continuing resolution, of the spending bill that was certainly portrayed differently by Democrats when it was approved when Joe Biden was in the White House. Interesting. So that's the first part of this, okay, is that it's really not that radical, because if Republicans could marshal the forces to change it radically, they would, but they can't, so they had to pass a continuing resolution. Here's Chuck Schumer explaining why he voted for it.
Gives Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Doge almost complete power over what to close down, because they can decide what is an essential service. If they determine that SNAP, kids shouldn't get food, is not essential,
well, that, yeah,
cut it out summarily, they could fire half the workers in the federal government. It would have been a far worse consequence.
News bulletin for Chuck Schumer. Donald Trump pretty much does have the power, if he can marshal every vote on the Republican side, to do whatever he wants to do, and you can't really stop it, except with a cloture vote, which is the 60 vote threshold as to whether or not you're going to hold a vote. And I love how he's like, oh, you know, if we shut the government down, he could end SNAP benefits, because that, of course, would be such a winning political position for Donald Trump to take food away from poor kids. That's exactly what he's trying to do, right? They always paint the Armageddon scenario on the Democratic side when it's not something that anybody would even propose. Not even one nut job Republican would oppose it in Trump's cabinet. Now, Schumer is taking it into shorts from Democrats in the House. Hakeem Jeffries, the air traffic controller, who can't make a point without stopping after every 3 words he speaks and moving his hands like he's bringing a plane in from the tarmac. Hakeem Jeffries was asked over the weekend if he had faith in Chuck Schumer, and he said, because it fell under the 3-word maximum, or before he stops, next question, he said. So here's Jake Tapper before he talks to the most racist, incompetent, stupid member of Congress, Jasmine Crockett. Jake Tapper painting a picture of how dysfunctional Democrats are at the moment.
No plan, no strategy, no message. That's a quote. That's how a Democratic lawmaker was describing the Democratic vote with Republicans this weekend to fund the government with a Republican funding bill, averting a government shutdown, but there was virtually no fight and nothing achieved for Democratic priorities this comes. As our brand new CNN poll this morning shows, the Democratic Party's favorability is at an all-time low in this CNN poll. It's just 29%. Google, it's a 20-point drop since 2021.
Big, robust 29% approval rating for Democrats. Pretty funny. Here's Jasmine Crockett, though, on why Chuck Schumer is horribly, terribly, awfully wrong to have allowed the continuance of essentially the same spending that was existing under Joe Biden, when it was no doubt great in her mind.
Absolutely wrong. I mean, look it's the reality of the votes, right? I understand that the American people are frustrated. Please believe many of us did not sleep because we were calling and trying to impress upon the senators the importance of pushing back in this moment. And as you saw, we had all but one Democrat in the House that voted for this. So that's 212 Democrats in the House. And then you had the vast majority of senators vote for or vote against it as well. And so the idea that Chuck Schumer is the only one that's got a brain in the room and the only one that can think through all of the pros and cons is absolutely ridiculous. And Jake, you and I both know that this administration could care less about whether or not they violate the law. We know that we've had to rely heavily upon the courts. And I want to say, as you're talking about the polling on my party, I want to say that it is the Democratic attorney generals and some governors that are standing up against this administration and bringing those lawsuits and winning every single time. They are losing.
No, you're not.
Could we do a better job of making sure that the American people know that we are winning in the courts? We probably could, but at the end of the day, it's still Democrats that are winning for the American people.
That's an interesting take. It's Democrats that are winning for the American people. Well, I would assume the American people are interested in winning. Why is your approval rating 29% if you're doing so much winning? She says, we're winning in the courts every single time. No, you're not. No, you are not. You're getting temporary restraining orders. Hey, Jazz, do you know what the word temporary means? It means you have to go back to court and win permanently. And when you go back to court, you're not winning permanently. Now, Jasmine Crockett, being as obsessed as she is with race, I think overlooked an opportunity to stroke Chuck Schumer's heroism. I mean, after all, what he did really is the stuff of Mount Rushmore. I mean, it almost brings a tear to my eye when I think about how Chuck Schumer did not invoke a Senate filibuster to block the spending bill, because you will remember that the Senate Democrats and other Democrats have often said many times that the filibuster is racist. So Jasmine Crockett, being as obsessed with race as she is, you would think she would have lauded Chuck Schumer for not invoking the racist filibuster. It was unfortunately therefore left to CNN's truth teller, Scott Jennings, to pay proper homage to Chuck Schumer.
I'm grateful for Chuck Schumer today. He helped defeat a racist Jim Crow filibuster in the Senate. And to stand up against the racist Jim Crow filibuster tactics was a moment of pure courage. And I just think he should be lauded by anybody in any party. But that's number one. Number two.
It's a deep cut. Let me just explain to people at home. When there was a Democratic push against the filibuster, people in the Democratic Party were saying it was a racist era, Jim Crow era. And it was tactic, the filibuster. So he's being cheated.
And not only,
all right, back to
not only that, but he saved us from the Democrats in the House, laying off every single veteran in the federal government. Chuck Schumer, working with Donald Trump, saved us from that. So I think he deserves a lot of credit this morning. Scott, every veteran would have been right off. Every veteran would have been laid off.
Scott's having a lot of fun.
Yes, Scott is having a lot of fun because he's making you look stupid, which does not require a lot of effort. All it requires is to bring back up things you have said multiple times in the past, whenever there was going to be a government shutdown looming. Every Democrat, the Republicans don't care about that. They don't care about Social Security recipients. They don't care about this, that, the other. But when they want, and of course, like if they're using a filibuster, well, that's racist. That's Jim Crow relic stuff. I have the audio to prove that they have said that in the past, and I will delight in playing it for you next.
Clouds will give way to some sun. A little bit cooler this afternoon. A high today at 49. Clear tonight, low 36. Sunny, breezy, and warm tomorrow. The high at 68. And then for tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low 50. Windy and warm. Clouds and sun on Wednesday. High Wednesday at 69. Clouds, windy, and cooler. Showers on Thursday. The high 50. Those temperatures falling into the upper 30s throughout the day. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and want to see what Salem Surround can do for you, Google Salem Surround Columbus. Remember to Google Salem Surround Columbus today.
Don't settle for less. Your dog deserves the best. That's why we created Dr. Fido's, a plant-based dog food topper packed with 40 ingredients made with whole foods from carrots to bananas. And the best part? No cooking, no chopping, just stir it into their food. Go to drfidos.com and subscribe today and save $20 a month. Vet developed, dog trusted. This is the human-grade dog food topper that gives you peace of mind. Dogs can't write 5-star reviews, but their owners have.
I've always thought that dog food seems like a little bland, and so this helps.
Subscribe to save $20 each month. That's drphytos.com.
Ian Ralston was a combat medic who suffered a catastrophic war injury in Iraq. When I met Ian for the first time, I knew we had to do everything we could to get him every benefit he's earned to live as normal life as possible. And we did. He needed an accessible house. We got that grant, and a van for his wheelchair to get him there. My name is Jason Stevenson, and I work for Paralyzed Veterans of America.
America's most seriously injured veterans are getting all the care and benefits they've earned, thanks to Paralyzed Veterans of America. For over 65 years, Paralyzed Veterans of America has helped hundreds of thousands of veterans, and their service is free to all veterans and their families. Paralyzed Veterans of America, changing lives, building futures. To learn more, visit pva.org. A public service message from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Larry Older here, inviting you to join me on the Patriot Alaska Cruise this summer. A once-in-a-lifetime trip where patriotism and luxury meet. Picture this, you cruising through Alaska's stunning wilderness on a first-class luxury ship, surrounded by breathtaking glaciers and majestic mountains. Joining us will be Mike Gallagher, Jennifer Horn, and Joe Piscopo. But that's just the beginning. We sail August 16th through the 23rd through the last frontier. On board, you'll enjoy thought-provoking talks, exclusive events, and unforgettable memories with fellow patriots who share your conservative values. Text the word TRAVEL to 94878 to reserve your cabin today. This is more than just a cruise. It's a chance to engage with some of the most respected voices in conservative America while exploring some of the most beautiful places on Earth. Space is limited, so do not wait to book your cabin. Text TRAVEL to 94878. That's TRAVEL to 94878. I'll see you on board, where patriotism, adventure, and luxury come together.
It is not the end of the school year yet, but it is certainly the time where if you are a senior or if you've taken a gap year, you're starting to think about or expand your possible list of future destinations for your academic pursuits. I would like to submit two possibilities for you where you can save money in the Discount Shopping Club. You can save $2,500 off tuition at Ohio Christian University in Circleville or Valor Christian College, which is about 15 miles south of Columbus. How do you do that? Well, you go to 99theanswer.com, click on shopping, navigate your way to the Discount Shopping Club. You spend $2,500, but you get a certificate to save $5,000. Now, I've not been to Valor Christian College, but I've definitely been to OCU, Ohio Christian University. Phenomenal school with great leadership, and it's going places. Get in on the ground floor of a great Christian education with many academic pursuits by going to the Discount Shopping Club at 99theanswer.com. So there is a procedure in the U.S. Senate called the filibuster. You've probably heard of it. The filibuster is a way to keep a contentious matter from ever coming up for a vote. In the old days, they used to be able to talk all night, talk for days and days and days and days, and just delay a vote on something. Now, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but the filibuster was used quite often in the past, and Democrats really hate it because when they don't have enough votes to overcome a filibuster, and I believe it takes 60, then Democrats deem it to be a racist tool used by Republicans to keep social justice causes and other causes from getting a fair hearing. But now, when Chuck Schumer and the Democrats refuse to use the option they had in front of them, the filibuster, to delay a vote or deny a vote on the spending bill that was approved last week that averted a government shutdown for 6 months, well, Democrats no longer paint the filibuster as racist because, of course, they never do anything racist. But let me take you into the Wayback Machine. This is Joy Reid and Eric Holder, Barack Obama's Attorney General in 2021, talking back then when Republicans were thinking of using the filibuster to just demonstrate that the description of the filibuster depends upon who might use it.
Senator Dick Durbin, the head vote counter for the Democrats, had this warning to all the conservative Democrats, like Manchin, who are skeptical of undoing the old Jim Crow filibuster, which was most
Jim Crow
used historically to try to stop voting rights for Black Americans. And they're trying to convince them to help pass this legislation, said Durbin. Show me that the Senate can operate with a filibuster and still do things that make the U.S. a better nation. Show me. Joining me now is Eric Holder, former U.S. Attorney General and chairman of the National Democratic Redistricting Committee. Great to see you, General Holder. And let's just start with a few of these myths. Great to see you. Let's start with a few of these myths. Mitch McConnell claims that the filibuster has no racist history. Your thoughts?
Now, before Eric Holder gives you his thoughts, let me give you my thoughts. There are instances where the filibuster did have a racist history. Back when civil rights legislation was attempting to be passed in the U.S. Senate, there was a group of senators who used the filibuster to delay the vote. Those senators came from the South. Those senators were Democrats. Am I right or am I wrong on that? Let's see what Eric Holder thinks.
Well, the filibuster was used throughout the 20th century to frustrate the passage of civil rights bills. I mean, that first and foremost, you had to get past a just humongous filibuster in 1964 to get the 1964 Civil Rights Bill in place. Same thing again with the Voting Rights Act in 1965. But you can go to earlier versions of civil rights bills where Southern senators, Democrats to be fair, were filibustering to try to make sure that civil rights bills did not become the law of the land.
Democrats to be fair. It's kind of mentioned as an afterthought there. Democrats, I'm shocked he even said it. I'll give him some credit for saying it. Yes, that is right. It was Democrats before. So all of this has added up to a delicious, dysfunctional Democratic Party. Quinnipiac CNN. Democrats now have a 21% approval rating and a 68% disapproval rating. Among Democrats, 49% of Democrats disapprove of other Democrats. 49%. 40% approve. That seems to me like that's 9 points underwater among their own party. Let me see who I have here. Can maybe shed a little further light on that. Here's Harry Enton of CNN.
How low can you go? Voters' views of Democrats in Congress, the lowest ever approval ratings on record per Quinnipiac University. Look at this. Approve 21% among all voters. Look at the disapprove level. Holy Toledo, 68% of all voters disapprove of how Democrats are doing in Congress. Now, you might think that is low, and this is the lowest number on your screen here down at 21%. But I want to bring you over here to how Democratic voters feel, because this is truly unbelievable. Amongst their own party, how do Democratic
representatives, senators, how are they viewed? Get this, the plurality disapprove at 49%. More Democrats disapprove of the job that their party is doing in Congress than approve. Get this, only 40% approve. These are truly horrific numbers. They're in the trash bin of history. That is how low these approval ratings are. When you can't even get plurality approval among your own party, you know you're doing something wrong.
That would be one indicator. Another indicator would be an NBC News poll, which says 27% of respondents say they have a positive or somewhat positive view of Democrats right now. 55% say it is negative or somewhat negative. As for what Democrats should be doing in Congress, 32% say they should compromise with Trump. 55% say they should stick to their position even if nothing gets done. It's interesting. I was reading last night. I've been watching, as I told you Friday, the House of David on Amazon. So I wanted to go back through 1 Samuel and read through, the early life of David. And I'd seen this on the House of David thing on TV, that there was a battle that the Israelites won where they didn't have any metal swords. The only people who had a metal sword were King Saul and his son Jonathan. And they routed the Philistines because the Philistines were confused and they were butchering each other. Now, this happened frequently in Bible times. You can read about these kinds of circumstances in the Old Testament from time to time. And that reminded me, these are like Democrats right now. They're like flailing away. They don't know who the enemy is. We have met the enemy and they are us. Doug Schoen, political strategist, Democrat, sane Democrat, not afflicted with Trump derangement syndrome, which puts him in the decided minority of his party. Here he is on the Democrats' strategy being that they have no strategy.
I feel that they're heading towards further destruction and devaluation of a brand that is at an all-time low. I've written and said, as you pointed out, that the Democrats should compromise where appropriate and disagree where they must on things like Social Security and health care and the like. But to just oppose, as my party has, is embarrassing and wrong.
Democratic Party will have a chance of fixing itself if, in fact, it embraces more Doug Schoen's. But it's not going to do that because the most powerful voices, they held a poll here over the weekend. Who's the leader of the Democratic Party? First of all, nobody got more than 10% of the vote. Nobody. AOC got 10%. Nobody else more. You know why that is? That goes back to clearing a path for Hillary Clinton in 2016, clearing a path for Joe Biden in 2020, clearing a path for Joe Biden, and then when he collapsed on stage, June 27th, Kamala Harris. They have not allowed, how many Republicans have we seen on stage? 18 seeking the candidacy? We've allowed other voices in the Republican Party to speak. The Democrats have not done that. That's why they are where they are.
If you're a business owner and a listener to this channel, you might not realize that the conservative news and talk content that you enjoy is advertiser supported.
I hope you have a great day. I hope you had a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll be taking Wednesday and Thursday off to get my daughter at school and then take her back to school. She's got a thing going on, so no show for me. Matt Mayer will be hosting for me on Wednesday and Thursday. Appreciate your time, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a good one.